We brought our passion in our job. You may not know, but we started to do sensorial marketing, let's call it like this, in 1980s, where we had a full orchestra playing in the cellar, trying to explain the taste of the grapes and the wine through the sound. That was definitely, let's say, weird originally, but actually this is what people do, sensorial and feeling and the human side of it. So it's no more only mathematics, but there's a big part of it. And we still use music for events or even in the vineyards. Now it's quite normal.
Welcome to this special Clubhouse session of the Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as members of the Italian wine community engage in fascinating conversations about contemporary wine topics. If you enjoyed the show, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. And remember to subscribe and rate the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your pods.
Hi everyone, this is Beatrice welcoming you to the Italian Wine Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner, one of the top-ranked shows on Italian Wine Podcast. Here, our ambassadors get the mic to interview their favorite producers with total freedom. And if you miss it live, no worries, it's all recorded and dropped later on the Italian Wine Podcast. Today's guest host is Daniel Mwangi. Daniel is a sommelier and food and beverage expert from Kenya. He has served as sommelier with Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection, Silver Seas Cruise and Celebrity Cruises, curating fine wine experiences for a global clientele, and has worked in the Armani, Marriott and Intercontinental hotels in Dubai. Today he's gonna interview Roberto Bava and Roberto Cardinale of Bava Winery in Piedmont. So hello Roberto and Daniel. How are you doing, guys?
Very well, ciao, tutto bene.
Ciao, Bea. Ciao. Nice to be here. Everything good?
Ciao. Good evening. Happy to be here.
So happy to have you here, guys. Daniel, are you ready for our 3 ritual questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Perfect. How did you discover the wines of Bava Winery?
So I discovered these wines in the 3rd edition of Gambero Rosso. It just happened 30th of January, just a few weeks ago, here in Nairobi, Kenya. It was a great experience doing a lot of masterclasses during the Gambero Rosso. And I came across these wines in Bava. They were part of the lineup that we were using for the special masterclass. So it was something to think about and something to really enjoy. And it was really a great experience with the wines. That was my first time to interact with these wines.
Perfect. Why did you select Roberto and Roberto as your featured guests?
So part of it is Cardinale and part of it is one of the wines that I will mention about. So Mr. Cardinale, I met him during the event. He was a very charming gentleman that we interacted with, and I knew this is someone I would really want to talk to in details about the wines. But also there was one wine in particular that Kenyans loved it. It's the Malvasia di Castelnuovo Don Bosco DOC Rosetta. That was very important, and really people loved it during the masterclass, and I knew I had to talk to them about it in the clubhouse.
Lovely. What are the learning objectives we should expect from this interview?
So we do expect to try to understand about the winery's personal journey, then understand their viticulture techniques, their winemaking and technical approach, discover what makes the wine different from other wineries in Piedmont, but also try to understand what are their technological, innovative approach in the winery, as well as we discover what they have done to embrace about emerging issues and customer perspectives. And maybe later on, try to learn about future plans and visions of the winery.
This seems to me like a really nice plan, to be honest. So it's time for me to mute myself, and I'm turning over the floor to you, Daniel. Have a nice interview, guys.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Grazie.
Grazie, ciao, Bea.
All right, gentlemen, great to meet you again. I must say, Mr. Bava, that Cardinale really represented you in Kenya. We really had a great chat. He was very passionate about these wines, and that's why we needed to have this conversation today for most of the people here in Kenya or globally or other places of the world that have not understood about your wine. At least they'll try to understand more. So I'll go straight to some of our questions for the day, and we'll have a nice chat and we'll understand you more. All right.
Okay.
So, what first inspired you to become a winemaker? Yes, there's a lot of people that have a lot of history, different generations. But what really inspired you to become a winemaker?
Well, I can take the lead of this question, although I must say that I'm not a winemaker. Very specifically, I'm the export manager in Bava for Asia, Pacific, and Africa. So sometimes, worldwide, they call me the winemaker. There's the winemaker's dinner, the chef table with the winemaker. I like to call the winemaker Mr. Winemaker, because if I can be around the world, dodging, bringing the wines to the scene, to the main scene, and having fun with it, because first of all, I have to admit, I love my job, is thanks to the Mr. Winemaker or Mrs. Winemaker as well. So when I met Bava, not later than 1.5 years ago, so I'm quite new to the Bava world, I must say. For me, it's very important to resonate with the winemaking philosophy, with the products, with the positioning, the marketing, what the winery is communicating through nonverbal, and as well the product, how it is set in the scenario of its own wine world. So I found so many winning points when I met Roberto Bava in Thailand 1.5 years ago. I knew the winery and I was big fan of both Bava and Cocchi, which is the sister company of Bava, owned by Bava family. So I couldn't believe that behind these big wines, these very serious wines, there was such beautiful people. Because it happens, thanks God, it happens in the world of wines that you find beautiful people behind impressive and memory everlasting wines. But when it happens, it's like a click for me. It works so good. And I have to admit that I feel very, very lucky to be working with these wines, because I love them, first of all, as I'm drinking them now. And I love representing them.
Which particular wine of the moment have shaped your career path in the winery? Like one particular wine that, yes, when we hear about Bava, we have to talk about this specific wine that shaped the career path of Bava.
Sincerely, I feel still a student in the Bava world, because the lineup of wines I sent you before our call, because what you tasted in Nairobi was just a snapshot of what we produced, just 5 wines. By the way, one was of Cocchi, a vermouth. So it's a very, very wide range of wines which are produced. The Bava family owns 3 wineries in the Barolo area, Monferrato, and the headquarters are in Asti region, in Coconato d'Asti. So literally, the production ranks and covers most of the iconic wines from the region Piedmont, which is the hamlet of some of the most famous wines, as Barolo, for example. So when I started, I thought that Barolo would be the most selling, but I have to admit that I was extremely pleased and surprised by other wines as well. Barbera, first of all, which is crucial to the Bava production, and some others as Ruquet or the Malvasia that you mentioned earlier that we brought in Nairobi for the masterclass. So these 3 are some of the most interesting for me that I try to bring to the market as the front wines.
Yes, I see the list is quite a big wine list, around 14. I wish we had tried all of this in Nairobi. Maybe next time, yeah, we will do that, yeah?
Yes,
Right,
I wait for you at Vinitaly.
How would you describe your winemaking philosophy in one sentence? It could be to talk about the philosophy in the region or philosophy specific in the winery that you really represent and you're proud of. Yes.
I would say a great Piemonte identity with a touch of modernity. We have been there for so long. Actually, my family has been making wine for 3 centuries in the same village. So you may expect an old-fashioned style, which is exactly the contrary. We are absolutely contemporary, giving a particular attention to identity, to grape varietals, to techniques, and to sustainability.
Great, that's great to understand and to know that you are really uphold the sustainability in this new world. So, what's your favorite part of the harvest season?
I'd like to say that we see, I mean, you have a dream when you talk about the harvest season, if you are out of this style of life, which is kind of romantic. We see, on the contrary, harvest to be an extremely demanding time of the year with a lot of crucial part to keep control, which is, of course, the maturity of the grapes, but also the people going in the vineyard. And there's the same mechanism that send the people to grab the grape when it's right at the time. And you have just a few days to do it. Considering that we have so many different grape varietals, we have Piedmont. So what is Moscato means at least a month difference between the harvest of Nebbiolo or Barbera. So those kind of things altogether makes of the harvest a kind of hectic time, but nevertheless, we love it. This is what we are.
That's great. That's great. So, if you are in a winemaker, what do you think you'd want to be instead of winemaking? Which other line do you think you could have been? Yes.
That's a very interesting question. I got an answer after a few years now. I will be either a musician or an architect, which is two different things, but include creativity a lot, passion, and sense of identity in any way.
Yes, there's a lot of passion with the wines, and there's a lot of creativity. How you want the blends to be, how you want the style to be a different year. I believe that's a lot of artistic part. So you are truly a musician in what you do in the vineyards as well. All right.
Actually, we did more. We brought our passion in our job. You may not know, but we started to do sensorial marketing. Let's call it like this. In 1980s, where we had a full orchestra playing in the cellar, trying to explain the taste of the grapes and the wine through the sound. That was definitely, let's say, weird originally, but actually this is what people do: sensorial and feeling and the human side of it. So it's no more only mathematics, but there's a big part of it. And we still use music for events or even in the vineyards. Now it's quite normal, but in the 80s it was quite...
You play for the vineyards? I saw some winemakers playing music for the vines. Piano, guitar, cello, everything. You do that as well?
Exactly, but we have been doing this for decades now. If you go on the internet, you may find winds to the vineyards, which was during summer, where we use a wind instrument to support the growth of the vine. It seems funny, but we just love it. I mean, maybe there's not exactly a scientific reason to do it, but for some reason it helped the winemakers, it helped the mood, it helped the feeling around the product and the winery too. So we've been doing for long this, which no specific, again, scientific reasons, but it's what we are.
And may I add, Daniel, that one of the most beautiful things I love about the winery itself, the Bava Winery in Coconato, is that when you get in the room of the woods, so the Baricaya, it literally looks like a stage, like a music stage. And there is music running for the wine to get to get at the perfect spot. And again, I'd like to stress, I was thinking while Roberto was talking, I was thinking that actually our Instagram profile, the one of Roberto, is called The Fun Manager. So that speaks it all, I think, the one of Roberto Bava. My Instagram is called Wine Sing. So it's really linked, I think, our way of promoting the wine to a sensorial and experiential way in which really the creativity, the music, the experience links and gets in one building memory that is really important for me. At least it's something that it's a selling proposition. It's something that people, they love to create, build memories, because when you have a memory, it's yours forever. And it's about the wine, it's about the music, it's about what you felt with it.
That's correct, because wine is very emotive. It's all about memories, what people have about a certain region, a certain vineyard, when they come to visit, when we visit some of these vineyards, there is beautiful, it's a masterpiece. And it's all about the memory. Even you end up loving the wine just because of how maybe the winemaker articulates about the wine and also about the style and everything. This is really a work of art. So how would you describe the terroir in your region, in the vineyards, and how do you think this affects and influences your wines, Mr. Bava?
Well, of course it does. That's something we've been learning even in the storytelling on last 30, 40 years. The soil has been a solid ingredient to talk about. Being Piemonte, we are on a hilly area, chalky hills, some red soil, but actually altitude is also the second ingredient. So the combination of soil, altitude, and weather makes the diversity and create the biodiversity which we are proud to have here. The Bava vineyards, both in Barolo, and these enter the storytelling of the Barolo, which is extremely specific with the village we are is Castiglione Falletto. In Barbera, we are in Agliano, so we produce a Nizza, and that also specific. There are Sabbie di Lucagnano, which are historical scents, which produce more spiciness, like rosemary, and gives character to wines. And here in Coconut, which is the third estate we have, is an extremely chalky area. So it's suitable to white grapes, but also to interesting red wines like Barbera. You mentioned the Malvasia, and that's another grape which is in a neighbor village. In that case, the soil are more red soil, so you have a total different approach to it. It's not the main reason why a wine tastes of it, but for sure it gives part of its character.
Yes, I see that. Thank you for the materials also, Mr. Cardinale. You send this a lot of description that actually tell us what wine and which type of wine does well in which type of regions and which type of soils. And this is a very important aspect for the final consumer to understand what are they expecting in this different type of wines. Some great wines, yes, we see a lot of great wines, but also to understand how did they grow, what type of soil they were grow in. So which grapes perform best in which regions, in which areas? And why do you think this is the case?
Piemonte is extremely specific. You have a lot of DOC and DOCG wines, which go specific in villages, not only in big area. I mean, 11 villages for Barolo. There are 4 or 5 for Malvasia, 3 or 4, or even more for Rouquet. But it is not a place where you buy a piece of land and you plant all what you want. If traditionally Moscato has been in the Asti area, there's a reason. Same like Barolo, and same today for Altalanga, the premium sparkling wine, which is now 25 years old now as a new history in the Piemonte. In that case, altitude has an effect. Altalanga is a grape, and Chardonnay, but need to be grown in hills up to 150, and normally average is 400. And that's already weather-proof, weather change-proof. So we are also, for the future, planting grapes where potentially can stand the change we are witnessing and expecting for the next decades.
Yes, thank you for that. All right. So how does ideal harvest look like for you, and what determines the ideal date for your fruit to harvest? What determines that?
Just to give you an idea, we use Piro di Zerba, which is we burn grapes instead of using chemical in the vineyards. This is one of the little details that tells a lot. Our goal is that we make the final analysis, and the trend is to have zero chemical residual. That's the best way, better than any certification, which is the real way. You see it on an analysis.
Yes, we see a lot of analysis. Some people like us, sommelier, we could try to understand, but some are very technical. So I don't know. Maybe we need to go to school more for that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when you communicate to customers, which are new customer or consumer, etc., you need to speak the language which is understandable. If I tell you that we have a certain pH or micrograms or what else, it doesn't tell you anything if you don't know what's behind this. You have no clue on how to judge these kind of numbers. So I guess we have to be simple and effective and true, because actually if experts like your team, the master wine and the ambassador of Vineyard, etc., on a general scenario, you are the happy few who have been studying a lot, etc., but then you cannot drink all the wine we produce. So we have to talk to a wider population that need to get the proper and understandable information.
How about the recent innovations that you have? Some innovations that we see in different wineries for the impact in the wine quality that determine the wine quality. Some slight innovations that we can understand. Yeah.
So I must say that it's getting back to the portfolio of the wines which is produced. It's quite big. If we add to the Bava Winery, to the Bava wines, the Cocchi, the vermouth as well takes a big part of the production. The aromatized wines, it's a necessity by law that has to be a different warehouse, a different production site, because it has to do with liquor, with sugar, of course, not sugar as we add in the coffee, but what is used to reinforce the wine, to have a fortified wine, in this case, the aromatized wine. So it is crucial to be on the cutting edge of the technology. The demand for the wines in terms of elegance, long lasting, evolution in the bottle, or keep still the quality that came out of the winery has to be the same quality after a couple of years on the table of the customer on the other side of the world. It is crucial to have more and more technology at the winery, both in production and with the impact of the winery on the environment, which is something, a different aspect, but as well something very crucial. If you would see the brochure, and why am I talking about this when we talk about technology? Because I think that technology must not be only of cutting edge, but as well reinventing or reinterpreting the knowledge of the winemakers that's been there for years, because the fame of these wines, especially of Barolo, of the king of the Italian wines, has not came into the scene in the last years. It's been for ages. So it is crucial to blend the technology with the processing, with the winemaking, that it's within the appellation, the DOCG, but as well to get to the point that the wines are at the highest level they can be, respecting the great characteristics of the grapes that were picked, then found in the wine.
We also wanted to know, because nowadays there's a lot of consumer preferences. You see a lot of people talking about more healthy options, vegan free, zero ABV type of wines. And you see a lot of these being talked about as emerging issues, especially for some newer generation of young drinkers, the Gen Z, so we say. Does this have an influence in the winery in general? Not like some of the wines that you decide, okay, let's try to experiment on the new consumer preferences. Has this been something in the pipeline?
You're right, Daniel. You listed all of these points, which are like the perfect storm today for a wine producer. You need to be a future teller, understanding what will happen in next years. And that's one of the most difficult points in these years, because there are so many signals from the market in any kind of direction, which are also not in the same direction. So actually, think about the wine producer need to, if there's a new trend, they need to plant a new grape, a new vineyards, or new technologies, etc., etc. And it takes years. But the wave of the market sometimes are smaller, faster. And once you get ready for the new product, the new style you expect it to be winning, the markets have changed again. So that's one of the stress we have recently. I would say last 10 years specifically. And you talk about low alcohol. What does it mean low? Is it totally zero? I mean, you were talking about Malvasia at the beginning of the story here. And Malvasia potentially is the perfect, politically correct wine with low alcohol, with a lot of nutrients, very difficult to get drunk because it's only like 5.5 in alcohol. And it's really suitable to a new kind of consume, even not being zero alcohol, but it's quite, in a way, approachable. And there's a primary aroma, so it's easy to understand. Technically, that should be the future. But in any way, we all struggle, including these kind of grapes, including Moscato, to mention the champion of all of them. So actually, it's difficult to understand the direction of the market. I would say that Malvasia is one of potentially winner in the future. But today there are other reasons, which are tariff, the financial general crisis, et cetera, which hide the potential success. Because you don't know if because they don't like the taste or because they have no money to buy it to make it easy. Or because someone put such a heavy tariff that even if the wine is good, consumer don't buy it. So I'm telling all of this salad to try to explain how it's difficult to understand.
Yes, so the future is here. So that's why I mentioned I work on cruise line. Then we see a lot of clientele talking about these kind of emerging issues and some wine trends that, yes, they are also challenging to adapt to. We are moving well. I will go to the last question that would like to know what next for you in the winery, like some few projects or any varieties or style that you excited about for the future, as we are mentioning now about the future is near and the future is here.
Okay, we can spoil some news. Well, first of all, we have a long established, let's say, know-how in Piedmont about sparkling wine. So the Bava will go back to produce one of our Méthode Champenois, and this will be Alta Langa. We have vineyards now upper in Alta Langa, which is an area back of Barolo in the Asti and Alessandria province. And eventually we are coming back to produce a cuvée specific with Pinot and Chardonnay. And we used to produce a label in the 70s and the 80s, but at that time there was no appellation. So now, thanks to this Alta Langa big exercise that Piemonte did, we are able to come out with an Alta Langa. It will be 60 months for yeast, extremely serious vintage, and is 630 meters on the sea level. This could be potentially one of the wine of the future. We never stop researching, so we'll have new grapes we are planting. So we try to answer to this floating time with new offer and a new intriguing wine. Piedmont is such an incredible variety of flavors, colors, taste that we just have to choose. So these are two of the points. One is will be released probably at Vinitaly. It's a Pinot Noir, vinified in red. So something kind of new in Piedmont because we always been doing for long Pinot Noir, but it was for sparkling wine. So we now release a product coming from one of our. Yeah, we are so close to Burgundy. We are the Nebbiolo and they are the Pinot Noir. But I mean, I would be curious to taste one Nebbiolo grown in Burgundy. Why not? So in this case, it's a Pinot Noir grown in Piemonte.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see a Nebbiolo grown in Burgundy. That would be a nice exchange, yeah?
They only have Pinot Noir and Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. They could maybe risk some exercise like we do. We are a little more open to this potentially. And Daniel, we have 200 probably native grapes. So we don't use them all. But the same amount of grape in France are the one we have in Piemonte. So actually, we have to explore this. Of course, Pinot Noir is more an exercise, but I'm sure it will be an incredible quality wine, which will parallel to our Nebbiolos. We have 2 Nebbiolos, 1 Barolo, so we have 2 Barolos. So we already know about Barolo, and now we have a little curiosity. It's just a vineyard, but
looking forward to that.
Please come to Vinitaly to stand, and you'll be one of the first to taste it.
Thank you so much. I will be looking forward to that. Please try some great things that I've never tried before here, and maybe it's time also to check some of these wines to Africa, to Kenya, and let's see what the clientele from this side would think about.
Again, the attitude we have is to explore new market and bring our toys. So we have all those flavors, and I'm sure that in this range, one or two can fit to the local cuisine, to the pleasure of the people. So we like to explore first. It won't be, of course, the market of our life, probably, but we like to meet a new culture and to interact with the local food. That's a good attitude. It open market, it open friendship with people. So we'll have potentially new friends. We already have new friends even in Kenya. So why not?
Yes, we are your friends here. Thank you so much. Grazie.
Thank you so much, guys. That was a really nice and wonderful interview. How are you doing now?
Doing well.
I couldn't, Roberto. Next time we should sing, so to let them understand our philosophy.
Don't worry, I took the scene talking about the
I know
wines,
you can.
so yeah.
Yeah, but now I want to hear you sing both. So the next time that you come to Italy, you have to sing for us.
Okay.
I was a musician too, so we can do something. Yeah.
What were you playing?
Piano and flute, and I'm a singer too. So yeah.
Oh mamma mia, fantastica! You are complete.
Yeah, Daniel, you have to sing with us.
Yeah, once we taste all the varieties we produce, there we can sing. Yeah. So let's keep the last day before they throw us out of the fair.
I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Believe in me, we can have a few wow effect if you come. It's not because of singing.
Perfect.
I have to say that, Daniel, one of my highlights in my export experience in my life is still last year, actually, Gambero Rosso in Nairobi. Finished the wines. I met some of the wine people and we were singing Jambo, Jambo Guana, Avaricani. That was so fun. So much fun.
I was there, but you didn't want me to sing, actually.
Accidenti. Well, thank you so much, guys. Really, thank you. It was such a wonderful interview. Really, thank you so much, guys.
Grazie, asante sana. Thank you.
Karibu sana. Looking forward to meet you either in Nairobi or in Vinitaly.
We'll do it. Karibu.
Or on the yacht. Or on the yacht.
Or in the yacht.
Now we talk about, wait a second.
Those are some interesting places to meet, to be honest. Yachts or Vinitaly.
Okay.
It's a big market as well. It's an interesting market of the beautiful wines. There's a lot of great wines there also.
Perfect, guys. Thank you so much. That was such a wonderful interview. For those who are interested to participate, just send us DM through our EG or our Italian Wine Podcast producer at info@italianwinepodcast.com. This is a wrap, and thank you so much again for listening in. So, ciao, ciao!
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 Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.